going to be another typical mail day. You're going to get yourself some vintage, some modern, and you're probably going to see a lot of Philadelphia Phillies. What's going on, everyone? MikeO back. Got another stack of mail here. It's going to show some stuff off, some recent purchases. Been not really buying a lot this week. I've been focused on selling some stuff, as I'm sure many who follow the channel have seen with the live streams every night. But I did pick up stuff last week, and it's come in throughout the week, so I figured I'd share it. Going to be a lot of Phillies stuff, modern and vintage, just different cool pickups. Some stuff I ordered a while ago, like these Topps Now cards. And this one's interesting. I actually got two here, one for me and one for Ed Wesker Griff. Sean Rodriguez is the first player I remember hitting a walk-off home run and then just immediately blasting the fan base and the reporters and everyone following the game. He's a guy who's like a 10-year veteran, been a bench player most of his career, and instead of embracing one of those few moments in the sun, he took it to create a whole ton of enemies in the city of Philadelphia, but still needed it for the Phillies team set this year, and I do the Topps Now along with the basic Topps. And then I think Ed won it one for his Idiot Phillies PC. Got a few more Topps Now cards that have come in. Got the Rhys Hoskins from his go-ahead RBI single on the 15th. It's a nice card. It's one of his few highlights in the second half. He's really had a rough second half of the season. Got a Harper. Launches home run in first game his father. Definitely always happy to get a Phillies Topps Now card. That's one of those that's a little forced. I think they're just looking for a way to get a Harper out there. And then I got this one. This is actually from a game in July. Big comeback win for the Phillies against the Dodgers. You got Harper there to the left and Hoskins to the right. And I actually believe that same image of Harper is going to be reused on his 2020 Topps card. It'll be a full photo, but they did show some samples. There's a vote underway right now for card number 1 in the 2020 Series 1 set. And I know I saw that Harper image where he's pretty pumped up. He's got the Fanatic headband going and his hair kind of flying all over. But I like Topps Now. I know it's not for everyone, but I don't know. I think it's cool as a player / team collector. I'm a big fan of it. Got an Aaron Altair from the Topps Living set. This came out, I think, last year. It was actually pretty short printed, and I didn't pick one up at the time. I wanted to get one slabbed, but there's so few of them that the guys want like $35. And, I mean, I'm all for collecting Phillies, but Aaron Altair is Aaron Altair, and I'm definitely not willing to pay $35 for any Aaron Altair card. So I got the raw one for like $4. These are some winnings from Vintage Breaks. I guess I won one of their small little contests. So I got a pack of 87 Donruss, which I may decide to break on camera. We'll see. But for now, I'm just going to save it. And then I got a couple vintage cards, pre-war. We got a Randy Moore from Gowdy, and then a play ball, Burgess U. Whitehead for the Giants. So pretty cool. Boston Braves, New York Giants. Sometimes I just get these types of cards slabbed just because I love the old school cards and I think they look great slabbed. Here's some pickups from the batter's box. I just got some random Phillies. I may get some of these slabbed. We'll see. Again, not really too worried about the grades, but this is a post serial from 63, Art Mahaffey. These were relatively cheap. A Fleer, Grover Cleveland, Alexander, and I would like a Playing Days Grover Cleveland, but his stuff, from what I've seen, is super, super pricey. So I'll just go with the Fleer. I mean, it's technically vintage, right? It's not Playing Day, but here's a Richie Allen from the 69 Deckle Edge. It's a nice card. There's another post serial. It's from 61, John Callison. I think most of these now, they just slab them as authentic. So I might do that. There's a Cookie Rojas. I actually had purchased a while ago, and I showed it off fairly recently, a Jim Fregosi like this. So I wanted to get a Phillies example. Fregosi was a good player, and he has connections to the Phillies organization, but that was an Angels card. This is one of the decals, so it's kind of neat. I like these. The baseball scoops. It's a neat one. Robin Roberts wins 28 games. These aren't all that expensive. I mean, I was able to get this for a couple dollars. Slabbed ones aren't, graded ones aren't too expensive either, but picked up the raw version. Got a Ruben Amaro post from 62. Definitely has some snowing there on the face, a little white, but pretty neat. Just to think that, they were even saved from back then. And then we got a Tony Taylor. This is the Milton Bradley from 1970. One of my first introductions to the Milton Bradleys were actually Dustin Bellinger sent in one, I believe, in a PSA submission. So I'm just enjoying getting kind of different examples of old school Phillies cards. It helps kind of expand the collection a little bit at very affordable prices. Most of those were only $1, $2 each. Picked up a 1962 Venezuela Topps Dallas Green PSA 1. I think this was like $10. It is beat up on the back. It was obviously glued into a book. But overall, the appeal isn't that bad. I mean, it definitely shows some wear. The corners are worn out, but I don't know. High-grade versions are extremely expensive, and I just kind of combine the shipping. So just to get an example in it, I wasn't crazy over the Venezuela Topps. Didn't really matter to me a great deal if I added this to the collection. But at that price, I was all for it. So you can see there. I think that was like 10. And then the main purchase from them was the 1917 Boston store, number 18, Eddie Burns. It's an SGC 1.5, so it's fair. Has that mark up at the top. But really cool image. Gotta love that old school Phillies P. He's got the catcher's mitt. It's a pretty cool card. Really, really enjoying this old school pre-war stuff. It's awesome. And I found out about the Boston store. Pretty sure I found out about these cards, this set, through Nuff Said Cards. So it's just another example why it's great to get out there in the community, watch other videos, watch other types of videos that you might not typically watch. Sometimes we like to watch what we like, whether it's vintage, whether it's modern, box breaks. But if you kind of expand your horizons, meet different people, and kind of learn about different stuff, you'll more than likely eventually expand your collecting horizons and have an absolute blast with it. Here's a cool one here. This might be the only non-Phillies card, and again, it's a Phillies connection. It's 1997 Bowman's Best Roy Halladay Atomic Refractor Rookie. PSA 8. Obviously, I'd love a 9 or a 10, but either way, there's definitely some refractor lines and surface scratches. But also at this time, if you're viewing this video, you're probably currently being mesmerized by that incredible atomic shine, that movement. Absolutely gorgeous cards. 97 Bowman's Best Atomics are amazing. I recommend getting out there, checking out the set, picking up some sort of card, whether it's a Hall of Famer, whether it's just a player from your team. I mean, the commons you can get really cheap. This thing in a high grade is crazy expensive. In an 8, probably run you like $70 or so. But it's awesome. A Hall of Famer, a guy who had an incredible career. And unbelievable shine. So that's what I'm talking about collecting. There's so much to love. You got a card from 1917 that's got that old, dull, off-color white look, which is awesome. And you got that card from the late 90s that has unbelievable shine. Guess what? They're both incredible. Super happy to have both of them in the collection. Here's some Phillies. Picked these up at a local auction. They were only about $3 a piece. That's one of the reasons I picked them up. Just different ones. This one's beat up. I don't know. Quite honestly, with the surface issues, I'm not sure what someone was thinking when they got it graded. Stan Lapata in a 4. Bit off center, but clean looking card nonetheless. Granny Hamner. Definitely has some surface issues. Print defects, but in a PSA 4. Jack Stanford in a PSA 5. That's pretty good looking. Not perfect centering, but great color. I just like having the really nice examples in the collection. It's a 58 Topps Phillies, PSA 5. It's a neat card there. You got Ashburn on it, so I guess theoretically this can go into the Ashburn collection if I chose to do so. Robin Roberts as well. But team cards back then were pretty neat. And then the last one from that pickup was Willie Jones in a PSA 5. So no major cards here, but for what amounted to about $3 a piece, I don't see how there was any downside to picking them up. Here's a 2019 Topps Heritage Rhys Hoskins 1970 cloth stickers, PSA 10. This is actually from one of my recent submissions. Ryan F. in the group actually got this graded and then sent me a message and told me he wanted me to keep it for my collection. I kind of double checked with him and said, "Are you sure?" He said he was sure, so I appreciate it. That's very generous, and it's a card I did not have. I do have a raw version, but I did not send one in, so that's really neat for the collection. So I'll have to hook you up with something. Appreciate that. Got a few cheap pickups. Oh, there's actually a couple other non-Phillies. It's a 97 Bowman Chrome Jason Worth, PSA 9. Worth looks like a total dork in this one. Just kind of standing there leaning against batting cages. Clean shaven, real young looking, big glasses. Now you look at him, you wouldn't recognize him. He's got the big burly beard, long hair. But I honestly picked this up because I got it with combined shipping and it was $1.25. Worth was instrumental in the Phillies World Series run in 2008. Was incredible, really, for him in his entire Phillies career from 2007 through 2010. I think he's tied for the all-time team lead in postseason home runs, which I understand nowadays there's more rounds, but he was really clutch. He was really good, and honestly, the Phillies have never been the same since they let him leave for Washington. His career's come to an end at this point. But a lot of people like to say Worth had a horrific contract in Washington, and while he was a bit overpaid, that's not even in the top 100 worst contracts in baseball history. He was fairly productive for 7 years, helped get them back to the postseason, had some big playoff moments. I mean, his contract was actually better than Cliff Lee, who the Phillies ended up signing instead, who had some great seasons, but came up super small in the postseason during round 2 with the Phillies and then didn't pitch for the last year and a half. But Worth was a good player. I mean, doesn't have much hobby value, but he was a good player. Here's a Kurt Schilling, 89 Donruss, PSA 9. Super hard to get 10s on this set. Again, this was part of combined shipping, and this was only a few dollars, $4 or $5. I think he's going to find his way into the Hall of Fame in the next couple years. He certainly belongs there based on his postseason success and his career numbers. In my opinion, 3,000 strikeouts. I think him and Roger Clemens are the only two pitchers in Major League history with 3,000 strikeouts and not enshrined in the Hall of Fame. So, again, for like $4 or $5, cannot go wrong with that. This was a big pickup, really cool. 1927 E126. Series of 60 Cy Williams, PSA 3. Cy Williams had a really nice career and was kind of big for the Phillies back in the day. He was one of their home run hitters. I don't know if his career numbers and topping me, but I'm pretty sure he's one of only 2 players in baseball history to lead the league in home runs during the dead ball era and the live ball era. I think it's him and Babe Ruth. So he had some big seasons. Didn't end up putting up incredible career numbers. I mean, I think he had 200 plus home runs, but didn't have a super lengthy career. But that's an awesome card. And kind of when you read about the Phillies' early history, he's one of those guys mentioned quite a bit. So I really wanted to pick up a card of him. Obviously, the photo in this card is kind of not super sharp and not super clear, but it's still super cool. So happy with that one. We've got a Bryce Harper Bowman's Best from 2012, Bowman's Best Prospects. Just always thought this was a neat card. I've chased it in at 10, never won it, got the 9. Relatively cheap, like under $10. So picked that up. There's a lot more non-Philly stuff than I realized. Here's a 55 Bowman Johnny Padres. SGC 5. I already have this, but I don't know. Got it again with combined shipping, probably around $10. And when you get something you like at a pretty affordable price, sometimes it's hard to say no. Could always use it as trade bait or resell it or just keep it. No problem with having a few duplicates in the collection. Got a couple SGC Authentics. 1911 Piedmont Cigarettes, T205 John Titus. So that one's an authentic. Obviously has some creasing, has some corner rounding, little paper loss there, that top left. But really neat overall. And that back is actually pretty solid. So you can get these T205s and 206s. You can get the common guys in low grade really cheap. Sometimes if you're lucky, 10, 15 bucks. Sometimes in the 20s. Either way, they're neat to pick up. This one's not quite in as great of shape, but T205, William Bransfield. That one's an authentic as well. That's neat. Some kind of gunk on this, so I'll have to clean these holders before I put them in perfect fits. And then the final pickup is a neat one here. This case is a little beat up, so I'm going to try and clean it up with Meguiar's. And worst case scenario, I could always get it reholdered by SGC or placed in a different type of holder. But it's a 1912 T202 Hassan Cigarettes, number 55. Dewin gets his man, Titus and Dewin. So they did these combo cards that are pretty neat. This is a 4.5, an SGC 55. So you got the action shot in the middle, and then you got the portrait shots to the left and right. So it's really neat. Got a little write-up on both of them. Dewin and Titus. And then that little story in the middle. So a really neat card. One I was happy to pick up. So some more great additions to the Phillies collection. And that's it for the mail day. A lot of neat stuff, a lot of fun stuff. It's just, it's a blast to kind of enjoy the entire hobby, enjoy the entire experience in the community. And there's just so much out there to collect. You got beat up cards from 1911. And then you got the awesome Shine, which I'll leave you with. Look at that thing. Atomic Refractor for the win. Have a great one, everyone.